I ask for the truth on behalf of Melissa Catalano concerning her relationship issues and whether he wants to forgive her. And I ask this in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the truth always. And we cut the deck there for you, Melissa, and we'll just place them here. And what I'll deal out 3 cards of these fortune card deck here, and we'll just see what's going on. And this is Melissa Catalano in the free psychic readings group on Facebook, but not my free psychic readings group on Facebook. The A1R Ask One Radio. You can get that on iTunes. That's where I get it anyway. Let's have a look, see what's going on now, Melissa. Let's just see. We'll do 3 cards for you, and the first card we'll deal represents your recent past. This is usually a period of time between now and this time last month. I always say a moon phase behind, about 27 days, something like that, you know. Let's just see what the next card reveals for you, and that's, we place that there in the middle, the second card, and that's the present. So that's Melissa Catalano right now there in the middle, and then of course on the other side we deal the third card here that represents your immediate future. That's a period of time between now and this time next month. A moon phase ahead, isn't it? A moon phase behind, a moon phase ahead, and Melissa Catalano there just in the middle. Let's just see what's been going on with this relationship issue, because we have the past, the present and the future in that way. Of course, because you've asked a question, you can link this first card, for example, that's relevant for the recent past. The meaning of that card or interpretation of that card will be relevant to the relationship question that you've asked, won't it? So let's just slowly reveal that card there, and not to disturb the energy. And as you can see, we've got something from the Royal Court there. You've got the Minstrel, and the Minstrel really, the energy of the Minstrel in your recent past just indicates really over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so, you should have really let your true intentions be known. Often when there's a problem, somebody will always ask you, or somewhere along the line, they'll always ask, what is it that you want from this? What do you want out of this? Or what do you want? And that's usually the sort of thing, isn't it? And really, in this relationship, it seems as though you haven't really said what you want. The question is, of course, is you know, will he forgive you? Does he forgive you or whatever? And of course, well, do you want him to forgive you? Of course, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, clearly you do. You put there, does he want to forgive me? Now, of course. Does he want to forgive? So, is this his intentions as well? In the sense that if he does, he should have let those intentions be known. In that sense. But I've got a feeling as though this is you. This is to do with you, and it's to do with, do you want him to forgive you? In the sense of, well, if he does forgive me, you know, I've not really. I got a sort of feeling like a low self-esteem here or something like that. In the sense, I won't say you get a kick out of it, but you get a good feeling out of not being forgiven, because you can then, well, I wouldn't go as far as saying play on it or anything like that, but certainly you can do a bit more soul searching for yourself. Maybe you feel as though maybe the question should be more, do I deserve to be forgiven? Maybe that's what the question is. That's what I'm getting from it. I don't know why, I just am getting that. Do you want to be forgiven? That's the thing. And you should have let your intentions be known if you see that link there. Because the minstrel plays a tune, doesn't he? He plays I love you, or whatever the hell it is. And at the end of the day, it's a song, isn't it? He could mean it, it could be true, but at the end of the day it's a song, it's just words, words, words. And of course it doesn't necessarily bear any relevance to reality. I suppose that's why the minstrel symbolises that sort of let your intentions be known in that sense, because he's not really, he's singing a song. And maybe this is just what you've been doing, you've been singing a song. In a sense of, I suppose, you know, please forgive me, but I don't feel as though I deserve being to be forgiven. But nevertheless, if you can find it in your heart to forgive me, it would help. But if you did forgive me, then I can't, you know, it's as if for some strange reason you want to be like, I won't say a martyr to the cause, but for some strange reason, if you want to be forgiven, then of course, as we've said, you should have let that be known. You should have let him know that you wanted to be forgiven. And of course, as I've said, maybe that's what it is, that you don't want to be forgiven, because once you're forgiven, that's not over, but there's nothing there to use for whatever you want to use it for. Nothing there to blame yourself for it anymore, and you're not to blame anymore, and you can move on. And I got a funny feeling as though, for some strange reason, I wouldn't say you're a masochist, but yes, I would. Let's just see what the next card is for the present there in this relationship, the wolf. And of course the wolf in this particular fortune card deck here clearly indicates that you really right now you've got to beware who you trust. And this is, I suppose, what it is, isn't it? It's a trust issue. Of course, it's one thing to say, well, do I trust him? But the question I would ask is, do you trust you? Do you trust yourself? If you want to know that does he forgive you or whatever, at the end of the day, do you want to be forgiven? Yes. Do you? Or beware who you trust right now. Do you trust yourself? This is the question. So maybe having faith in yourself to be forgiven when you somehow don't really want to be forgiven, because if you were, maybe you feel as though you're not worthy to be forgiven. But nevertheless, it would be nice if you were forgiven. If he did forgive you, we could all get back together and be happy again. But of course, we know that mud sticks, and we know that things have happened. And of course, either way, regardless of the darkness, the song has been sung, and it's one thing to be to blame for something, and it's one thing to ask for forgiveness for it, but somehow, like I say, I just don't know, I just somehow got a feeling as though you're uncomfortable with being forgiven, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? Because it's alright to ask him to forgive you, but do you forgive yourself? This is what it's to do with, isn't it? Let's just pull this next card here, overflip that nice and slow there, and oh, that's inverted. I've never had an inverted card before. Well, it's very rare we get inverted cards. What is it? The unicorn. I try not to really read these cards inverted, but there's obviously good fortune and friendship there. But But of course, if we were to read it inverted in that sort of regard, between now and this time next month, well, you couldn't read just bad luck and loss of friendship, would you? In a way, but is it? In the sense of yes, it's one thing to beware who you trust, including yourself, but could that maybe that is this what it is? Is this in the sense that you've shown lack of trust in some way, shape or form, or whatever, and you've been overcautious with it, and he said I'm walking, I've had enough, basically, and that's been the case. Although of course you should have let your intentions be known. You should have let him know maybe what the crack was, what the score was right at the beginning. If you'd have let him know that right at the beginning, then he probably might not have, I don't know, would have started in the first place. But does he forgive you? What is it you need forgiveness for? Forgiveness for lack of trust. With that loss of friendship there. If we were to read that inverted, that does look a bit. I want to somehow pull another card. I don't know. Sometimes I get with these cards, and I've said this before. These fortune cards, I tend to get it where I just want to pull another card, to sort of see what is going on. Sort of just a bit beyond it, or like a sort of like an evaluation report or a roundup or overview or something. And you've got the green man indicating, of course, I suppose your health is you know, the forces of nature favour you in that sense. So your health is okay for that, in that sense. So it isn't that sort of thing, is it? But of course, with a relationship, it can affect your mental health, can't it? Are we the authors of our own misfortune here, or what is it? It's one thing to want forgiveness, but if it was about trust in the beginning, if it was all about trust, you know, I often say trust is like virginity. Once you lose it, you are that four-letter word, if you know what I mean. To put it crudely, before 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the afternoon. If you get what I mean, before the 9 o'clock watershed or whatever it is. And I suppose really maybe we live and we learn, don't we? And with that, yes, our physical health, maybe fertility or whatever you want to call it, can remain intact, but of course our mental health can sort of take a pounding. I don't somehow feel as though your mental health has taken a pounding in this case, though. Somehow I just feel it's more of a face-saving exercise as well. But of course, it's this sort of thing where you are taking the blame, and I think if he did forgive you, I don't think you'd believe it. And this is the thing. I don't think you'd believe that he did forgive you. You'd think he was the minstrel singing the song or something. I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, and really it's just a song, you know. And it's back to that again, isn't it? It's like as if it goes round in a circle. But this, of course, good fortune and friendship inverted. Of course, you maybe lose because of right now where you're having to beware who you trust. You might just show a bit of a lack of trust to the wrong person, and it might just end up backfiring in a bit of a negative way there. But of course, that's only for the foreseeable future, isn't it? And the long-term future is in the long term and can be different if healing is asked for, maybe. You know, there are psychics you can ask for healing or or anything of that nature. Maybe there's someone on the A1R Ask One radio. You can probably call them up and see if they can give you a go. Connie or somebody might be able to give you a better advice or something like that, maybe. But unfortunately, for me, I think my time is up. For you and for now, these cards have spoken.